Hey, it's me. The universe is always expanding. Everything in existence, energy, life, nature, is constantly growing, reaching for more, moving toward connection and wholeness. And because we're part of this universe, the same is true for us. Deep inside, we're wired to grow, to love, and to connect. Sometimes something blocks that natural flow, though. And when it does, love can't fully reach us or flow from us the way it's meant to. Every spiritual tradition teaches that love is at the heart of everything, that without it, nothing else really matters. But just knowing this truth isn't enough. The real work is understanding why we resist love and what unconscious patterns keep us. Life can feel hard, not just because of the challenges of daily survival, but because our soul struggles too. The world is full of people who feel disconnected, some more than others. In extreme cases, we label this as mental illness. But even those who seem functional on the outside often carry deep inner conflicts that quietly drain their joy. Whether we call it anxiety, loneliness, or just feeling stuck, the cause is often the same. We've put up walls against love. When love isn't flowing, it creates a deep restlessness in us. We may not even realize it, but there's often an underlying guilt, something we can't quite put our finger on. Instead of facing it, we focus on smaller, surface level guilts, feeling bad for not being productive enough, for making mistakes, for not meeting expectations. But these are often just distractions from the deeper issue, a hidden guilt for holding back love, for staying separate, for resisting connection. This guilt is tricky because it hides behind self-protection. We fear being vulnerable. We fear getting hurt. So we put up defenses, pride, self-will, the need to control, the need to be perfect. These barriers create a false sense of safety, and they also isolate us. Ironically, this isolation makes life harder, more stressful, more exhausting. There is good news, though. Once we recognize this pattern, we can change it. The moment you start to see where you resist love, why you hold back, and how it affects your life, you begin to free yourself. You see, many people try to make up their lack of love by being good, quote unquote good. They follow all the rules, they try to be perfect, they work hard to do everything right. I know this because I was one of these people. But being good isn't the same as being loving. If your actions are driven by guilt, fear, or a need for approval, then you're still caught in a cycle of separation. A loving action comes from a place of genuine care, of openness, of real connection. But the same action, when done out of obligation, pride, or fear of judgment, does not hold that same energy. Deep down, you know the difference, even if it's hard to admit. And over time, this disconnect between your actions and your heart creates even more confusion and restlessness. So the real question isn't, am I doing the right things? It's, am I open to love? Am I letting love flow through me? Another way this resistance shows up is in our attitude toward life's responsibilities. Many of us on some level rebel against life itself. We resist the obligations, the daily effort, the need to show up, make decisions, take risks, and expose ourselves to possible failure. This resistance can take many forms: procrastination, exhaustion, apathy, feeling overwhelmed. When life starts to feel like a constant struggle, it's often because deep down, a part of us is saying no to it. We long to float through life effortlessly, without pressure or expectations. And in a healthy sense, that's exactly what happens when we're in the flow of love. But when we resist life instead of embracing it, floating turns into avoiding. And avoiding life doesn't bring peace. It brings more struggle, more tension, more weight to carry. So ask yourself, where am I resisting life? Where am I saying no instead of surrendering to the natural flow? The way forward isn't about forcing yourself to be more good or more productive. It's about softening, about learning to let love in. When you start to let go of the fear of being hurt, when you stop trying to protect yourself from life, something shifts. You become lighter. You find peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer fighting life. I invite you to consider reflecting on this. Where am I holding back love? Where am I resisting life instead of embracing it? And what would change if I allowed myself to open up fully, freely, without fear? Your soul already knows the answers. All you have to do is listen. Love you. Connect soon.